Black Clover created one of the greatest background character moments in manga. Now, let me explain.
Black Clover's story focuses on the titular magicless protagonist wanting to become the greatest mage who ever lived. In the theme of Shonen Jump anime, this is an extremely standard formula. I can list 3 anime that are still running today with the exact same formula: Naruto, My Hero Academia, and One Piece. I still count Boruto as Naruto since Naruto is still prominent in the series, so shut up. The overall theme of these works set their focus on constant training to grow into their dream. Naruto couldn't do Shadow Clone Jutsu, Luffy had a worthless power in comparison to the villains he fought, and Deku had no powers at all. It was through this hard work that each character grows to become something worthy of their goal. Though each theme follows the ideas of hard work conquering all, it does not stay true to that for very long. For example, Naruto is supposed to be a terrible ninja, but he has the power of the 9-tailed fox in his stomach. I feel like that gives him a pretty large leap in front of all the other aspiring Hokage when he learns how to control this power. That no longer feels like a character had to overcome an impossible outcome. It instead feels like they were given a massive advantage. All they have to do is learn how to control it. That is also true when it comes to My Hero Academia. Deku went from no quirk to one of the greatest quirks in the entire series. Yes, the quirk destroys his body when he tries to use it, but with a little bit of training, he's even given an ability that far surpasses every other quirk at the academy. Even if he were to get expelled, he would still become the greatest hero just by practicing on his own. And for One Piece, I won't say why Luffy's lucky, but if you read the manga then you will know that he has one of the greatest devil fruits in the entire show. What I'm trying to convey is that each character from these series start with a disadvantage, which then becomes a massive advantage. Even Deku having no quirk happened to be an advantage for him. Because of his lack of a quirk, he was able to house one for all properly and be able to use the previous user's quirks. I feel like this form of storytelling, which is incredibly engaging and entertaining, betrays the purpose of these stories. What is first shown to the reader as being anybody can do anything as long as they try hard enough, then becomes anybody lucky enough to be born with this 1 in a million worthless power will actually become a god with it. It is a story driven by not only hard work, but also an incredibly large amount of luck. That's where Magna of the Black Bulls shines. But before we talk about the Chad himself, we have to do a little bit of a setup. For this video, since the scene involving Magna hasn't been animated yet, we are going to be referring to the chapters of the manga rather than the episode in the anime. During the second saga of the Black Clover manga, we are introduced to the Dark Triad, a group of 3 villains each possessing powers from a high-ranking devil. The first goes by the name Zenon. Xenon if you're American, but I typed it into Google Translate and the Japanese pronounce it Zenon, so we're going with that. Possessing the powers of spatial magic and bone magic. The second is Vanica. Please, dear God, let that be right as well. Possessing the powers of blood magic and curse magic. And the final one is, I know that one! That's Dante! Possessing the powers of body magic and gravity magic. During the start of the new saga, Zenon travels to the Clover Kingdom and attacks the Golden Dawn's headquarters. With only 2 other men with him, he nearly kills everyone present at the headquarters. After impaling Yuno with his own sword, he leaves with Captain Vengeance. The only reason he didn't kill everyone present was because of the captain's quick thinking. He left a healing spell dormant till Zenon left, saving half of the Golden Dawn's lives. The other half, on the other hand, were too far gone. Oh, by the way, Zenon wasn't even using his full power. While Vanica went over to the Heart Kingdom to kill Lolopechka, Dante attacked the home of the Black Bulls. Vanica successfully completes her mission, deciding to capture Lolopechka rather than kill her. This is also that Noelle will grow to a similar power level as her mother. With Zenon and Vanica completing their mission, let's now move over to Dante. Dante has been shown to be the leader of the Dark Triad. Though it is not specifically spoken of, he is always shown wearing a crown and positioned in every shot of the leader role. His power also seems unbeatable in comparison to the other 2. He has gravity magic, meaning any projectile can be instantly thrown away from him. He can lock people in place, cause his hits to do increased damage, and look drippy as hell while floating in midair. Let's just say an attack does hit him. Well, he can just use his body magic and completely regenerate himself from near obliteration. In the context of normal mages, he is invincible. Even when the Black Bull's leader Yami shows up, he is still unbeatable. Yami even pressed the delete key on this guy's torso and he just regens it. Yami and Asta, two mages with incredibly unique abilities, have to come together in order to fight him. At one point, Asta relinquishes his right arm to the devil inside of him to keep fighting. Though Yami's abilities aren't enough and Asta had his last sword swiped away, they have only 1 second left till Asta loses his devil form. Without Asta's devil powers, they lose their one counter to Dante. Without hesitating, Yami tosses Asta his katana, and in one clean slice, the battle is over. And with all these new abilities, Asta is one step away from being the average Reddit mod. Though they won the fight, Zenon comes and collects both Dante and Yami. Okay, I'm just kidding. I'm calling him Dante from now on. They may have barely won due to Asta being the only counter to Dante's abilities, but in the end, they still lost. So, now that I set up the Dark Triad as being nearly unkillable, let's talk about our background protagonist, Magna. Magna is just the stereotypical delinquent you would find in any high school anime. He has a black mohawk, throws fireballs like they're baseballs, and rides a freaking motorcycle. That's pretty metal if you ask me. He's also shown very much in the background character light. He always has the task of fighting lesser important enemies than the main antagonist, or if he fights the main antagonist, then he is simply there to show just how powerful that antagonist is. He is a tool to make Asta look stronger. That's not to say he has no purpose. He's still shown having his own character arcs or influencing other characters to help progress a main goal. But with all that in mind, he has always stayed as a background character. One thing that helped him stand out was his relationship with Luck. They were both used to play off of one another, showing growth through their development of their relationship. This was a really good dynamic, but resulted in them being seen as a constant rather than two separate characters that happened to like each other. What made this worse was that Luck was growing as a character, while Magna only grew when referring to his relationship with Luck. The relationship was becoming no longer symbiotic, but almost parasitic. Without Luck, Magna was simply a stereotype. That could have been a completely okay relationship if that's what the writer wanted. They weren't necessarily needed for the overall plot to begin with, but watching their relationship grow was enjoyable between the episodes of Asta kicking demon booty. That was before the second saga of Black Clover. So, how did Black Clover's author refine Magna's character during the second saga? Well, what he did was incredibly smart, but we first must go back in time before the Dark Triad even invaded. Magna and a few other Black Bull members left for the Heart Kingdom. While there, they practiced mastering a new form of magic to enhance their spells in new and creative ways. By shaping natural mana and aligning rune arrays in a specific order, they are able to produce true magic spells. This arrangement of natural mana is done almost instantly in order to produce the strongest spells in the shortest amount of time. The primary requirement for the creation of these spells is a high level of magical affinity. Most manga would ignore this entirely or write it off as, "They trained hard enough to increase their magical affinity." But Black Clover's universe is known for its discrimination against lower levels of magic. So, instead of writing this plot point off, or by not having it exist in the first place, the writer instead uses it to increase the core theme of Black Clover. Magical affinity isn't something that is simply increased, but rather something that you were born with. That's why Asta will never be able to use magic. No matter how hard he tries, he has no magic affinity and will never be able to increase it through any means. Magic affinity doesn't necessarily mean how powerful a person is though. One person could have a high level of magical affinity, but a low level of control over it. This is similar to Noel at the start of the manga. Magna is the opposite of this idea. He has a high level of control over his magic, but has a low affinity. This means he will be unable to use true magic spells. With this knowledge, he leaves the Heart Kingdom and asks Yami why he chose him. That's when Yami replies, Because you look like the gutsiest one out there. He then finds Zora and begs him to train him. Zora is known for using the same configurations of runes as the Heart Kingdom while also having a low magical affinity due to him being born a peasant. Zora, seeing his father in Magna, teaches him how to use runes. Zora explains true magic used by high-level mages is crafted almost instantly. On the other hand, low-level mages also have the capability of using true magic, just not instantly. When low-level mages try to craft a rune, their magic just stays there for a long period of time. It just seems to stick around. Since their runes last longer, they can spend more time crafting longer and more elaborate true magic spells. This form of magic is not based around adaptation, as high-level mages will have to do. It is instead based on the premise of preparation. By experimenting, learning, testing, researching, and refining, low-level mages can also compete against the strongest mages in the world. This shows that not only the predetermined characteristics given to you at birth define your rank in life, but also shows how low-level mages have their own avenue of growth. It entirely flips the well-defined script in Black Clover's universe. You don't have to simply be born with power or be granted a 1 in a million chance for a demon grimoire. You can claim it for yourself through hard work and dedication. The writer of Black Clover did not just leave it at that. He continued pushing the envelope. Instead of simply saying someone can grow stronger through this new method, he instead shows it, letting Magna 1v1 a Dark Triad member. During the battle against the Dark Triad, the captain of the Green Mantis Squad, Jack the Ripper, is seen fighting against Dante. Well, fighting is a loose term. He's more getting his ass handed to him by Dante. Jack has the ability to cut anything, but the problem is that Dante doesn't mind getting cut since he can just jug his body back together. This matchup was by far the worst. That's when Zora and Magna come in and save their superior. Remember, Zora and Magna hasn't been seen for months. After leaving the Heart Kingdom, the two of them secluded and studied for an ultimate technique, something that leveled the playing field no matter how powerful an enemy was. Dante mocks Magna's pathetic attacks, only for Magna's attack to suddenly cause a chain to link the two of them together. A spell crafted over months of hard work and studying, linking their souls together. The spell works like this. It takes the magic power of the two souls and evenly distributes it between the two fighters. With this spell, Magna went from being worthless to actually hurting Dante. He immediately proved himself to be stronger than Jack the Ripper when comparing each of their capabilities against Dante. There's one problem. Though Magna had the same amount of power as Dante, Dante's magic was still better suited to fighting. If you remember correctly, the only way Dante was defeated previously was due to Asta being Dante's sole counter. With his anti-magic, he was able to stop Dante's body magic and prevent him from using any more of his devil powers. So, looking at the fight with that in mind, it still seems as though Magna is fighting a losing battle. He delivers punch after punch against the devil host, but nothing seems to faze him. That's when we see how much work went into crafting this magic spell. Back during Dante's first invasion, it showed both Zora and Magna watching as Dante decimated the Black Bulls. Magna tried going to help, but Zora stops him, remarking, "The spell isn't complete yet. You'll just die or get in the way." That moment etched into Magna's character. A shot of him trembling as he still tries helping any way he can. Then, ultimately, him being of no help while they escaped with Yami. Magna continues to strike Dante, but to no avail. With each hit, Dante simply heals the damage and strikes back. Damage begins accumulating on Magna, but his strikes never slow down. He continues wailing on Dante with seemingly no end in sight. That's when Dante suddenly loses his demon form. They had both ran out of mana. Some might say the writer used this as a get out of jail free card in order to give Magna a fighting chance, but I believe that would be incorrect. What most likely happened, though the writer did not explain this in the manga, was that Magna forced out a great deal of mana on his own. We know their mana is constantly being linked, since they both run out of mana at the same time, so this ceases could be possible. Magna also knew of Dante's powers, since he saw him fight back at the Black Bull's headquarters. It is not unreasonable to assume that, knowing Dante could heal, the only possible way of countering him is to expend as much mana as possible. This includes forcing Dante to expend at the same time. which is why he continued luring Dante into using his healing magic. With both fighters out of mana, Magna delivers a finishing blow, proving all of his hard work wasn't for nothing. Magna actually won against Dante, a character that was first shown to be impossibly powerful if not for Asta's anti-magic, was taken out with one of the weakest Black Bull members. This moment was absolutely perfect, with Luck and Asta flying in just in time to see Magna's victory. We even get a whole page of Asta and Luck praising Magna for his hard work. This page simply solidifies everything the manga stands for. Hard work and dedication is the key strength that all these mangas preach, but this is the first time someone achieved their goals through these principles without being the luckiest human alive. It perfectly wraps Magna's fight up beautifully by providing him the recognition he deserves. It's like eating ice cream after years of dieting. If you've read the manga, you know Dante comes back shortly after everyone leaves, and for this I call it an incompetence of the writer. The reason why they brought him back with "his magic is running wild" is most likely because they didn't know what to do with the Green Mantis captain afterwards. They never even show Green Mantis fighting Dante after they leave, only showing Dante's corpse as a passing image. This solidifies my opinion that Dante was ridden back into the sword just to give Jack the Ripper a purpose, so I won't be considering that in my conclusion. If you were to look at hundreds of other mangas, you would find a pattern with background characters. No matter who they are or how powerful their abilities are, they never beat the final boss. That's why I believe this scene is so incredible. Though Dante was not the strongest out of the Dark Triad, he was still presented as being the most powerful, and if not the most powerful, then at least an equal. This moment, his fight against Dante, is Magna's redemption, his payback, and the moment that defines the theme of the show perfectly. Inequality is filled throughout the world of Black Clover. The world won't simply give you the power you desire. You have to claw your way out of the pits of mediocrity by any means necessary to stand on even footing with those who were born with, or even given a free advantage. And with all that relentless struggling, you may even surpass those who were once deemed impossibly overpowered. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe. And as always, Johnny.